Welcome back, Mech Warriors. This is OLDBOB10025 with 5 quick tips for MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. Tip number 1. If you're having problems in the beginning finding ammo bins with a special gun you love to rack up kills with, you can find ammo bins in the market or industrial hubs. Markets on the top location under Market, Equipment, Military Equipment, and then you can find them here. And then also in the industrial hubs. Industrial hubs are located, anything that has a dotted line between them, those are industrial hubs. You can find pilots, different types of mechs inside there, and almost everything you need to go get your kills on. Tip number 2. When negotiating a contract, always take at least 1 point in damage coverage, and the employer will cover some of the cost of damage to you and your lance mates. This will save you tons of C-bills in the long run. When you expect a long engagement battle, put more points into damage coverage, as it will cost you if you don't. Damage coverage is under the negotiation system. What it does, it covers your mech for any type of damage that is done in the conflict zone. So if I only have 172,500 points or C-bill cost of damage coverage, they will only pay up to 172,500 damage of C-bill cost on my mechs. If it's anything above that, I have to go pay it. So you want to actually, depending on what type of mission types you have, or if it's a long engaged mission, say like a multiple mission or really hard missions, you want to up this just a tiny bit more to have more damage coverage, because your mech might explode. It might actually, you might lose that mech, and so basically it costs an arm and a leg to go ahead and fix that mech. If you have no points in damage coverage, you will be paying a lot more C-bill cost. Now the C-bill payout is the same thing. So let's say I put more in this but no damage coverage, doesn't make any sense because I'm gonna be still paying for the damage coverage. So under negotiation systems, you want to make sure you have at least 1 point in there so you don't have any cost on your mechs themselves. And in conflict zones, it costs a lot of C-bills to fix your mechs. Tip number 3. Pilots with skills based on weapons should be placed in mechs that have the appropriate skill or weapon types. If you use a general with only medium lasers, place a pilot with a higher energy skill, that mech will do more damage and start leveling faster and start having the pilot rack up kills. So to give example of what this is a Thunderbolt which has everything, so it's going to rack up the 5.8, the ballistic skill and the missile skill. I'm already at max on this. But let's say I only have, say, missiles in this one, but he's really good at, say, 10-10 out of ballistics. You're wasting that mech compared to a mech that actually has ballistics or some type of ballistic weapon. So if I say a Jaeger mech or a rifleman with a lot of ballistic type stuff, you want a pilot with a high ballistic skill in that mech instead of one that has a high energy skill, because it has no energy weapons or missile skills. And that's what you want to do. That way you're more effective on the battlefield for the pilot with the mech themselves. Tip number 4. You can only find contracts in war zones, and war zones are rep based and open up when you receive the recommended appropriate rep score to enter them. The war zones are outlined in red and have lots of neat symbols on them and planets in them. If you stay in the war zones, you have a higher repair cost and it'll take longer to fix your mech, so don't stay in too long and head off to industrial hub when they're mostly located outside the war zones. War zones are located in red, and you'll see these all throughout the inner sphere. They have like a red outline, and you can find them like this. Each war zone will have a recommended reputation level. Generally, you don't want to say go to this one if you're only level 4. That's level 12, and the missions will be a ton higher. Or even say this one, 12s. So you want to generally stay in the type of reputation zones or levels that you have for your reputation. Reputation can be found in the operations, rank professional, and then I'm rep 8. I could probably do a rep 12, but I'll get my ass handed to me, so I don't do those. I'll kind of stick in the 6 to 9, maybe 6 to 10 range around there. 6 to gain some C-bills, 10 to actually get some mechs if I can. That's generally what you want to do. And then once you're actually inside of a war zone, repair costs will be 40% more in the system, and repairs will take 60% longer in the system. A lot of war zones have different types of repair costs or different types of things that are going on for them. So you generally do not want to go ahead and stay in war zones and repair your stuff. Go to a hub or come out of the war zone or conflict zone itself and go to another planet, repair your stuff, then come back. It'll cost a ton cheaper, and the wait for your mechs will be a ton less. So you definitely go do that, guys. Tip number 5. If you want to have your friends jump into your campaign, you need to have a pilot for them to jump into to play one for you. If you only have 2 pilots, including yourself, you can only have 1 friend to play with you. So generally you want to actually have multiple pilots if you can, because sometimes they do get injured and they cannot be played themselves. And so when you do contracts, when you're getting ready to go ahead and drop down on some unsuspecting planet and kill everyone there, you basically want to have a bunch of pilots. That way they can go pick and choose which ones they want to go use, or you want to have them go pilot. If you only have 2, you can only have, or if you have up to 3 pilots, including yourself, 2 of your friends can come in. The other guy has to go sit inside the mech bay or not play in itself. So you want to definitely have is generally about 6 pilots if you can, and cycle them through, because I have some pilots I'm going to throw out the airlock because they just suck, and so I want to go throw those guys out and replace those pilots. And so you generally want to have multiple pilots in order to go do the stuff that you're doing. These are just fill-ins basically. Thank you, everybody. This is OLDBOB10025 signing off in the Inner Sphere. I'll be having more tips and tricks and everything else for MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries later on. And do check out the channel if you guys can. Check the Patreon, check the Twitter page to see what's going on in Old Bob's world. You guys have a good time, and I'll see you on the battlefield.